Okay, so in September, I don't remember a lot of the stories I read, like what they were about now. Because I read a lot of books in October to prepare for Halloween.
In September?
No, I read a lot of books in October, so I forget what
read in September
was about.
Okay.
I mean, I wrote it down, but like. First, I read Heart of Tin by Danielle Page, which was a novella about the Tin Man.
Yep.
I don't like the Tin Man.
Is he creepy?
He's like obsessively in love with Dorothy.
Oh.
Like that's why he does everything.
You can tell and Dorothy Must Die.
Mm-hmm. Then I read Return to the Dark House by Laurie, Faria, Stolarz. I gave that 4.5 stars. That was the sequel to The Dark House, which I read last year and loved. And I remember really liking it. That's about it. Because my brain is like, nope, you're done.
Move on to the next one. Done.
Then I actually read a physical book. The Haunting of Sunshine Girl by Paige Mackenzie. Now this is a series on YouTube, which I had no idea about until after I even read the book. So,
oh cool.
I really enjoyed it, and there's going to be another one. And now I'm starting to watch the little YouTube videos because they're really short about like hauntings and stuff. It's really good. I thought it was a really good book. I thoroughly enjoyed it leading up to Halloween season. Then I finally read Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I don't know why I waited so long. Oh my god. I love this book so much.
Yes, she wants it in 2 other editions.
Yes, I want the red edition from Barnes & Noble, and then I want the pink one from Target. I need 3 copies, and I really want Carry On. If you've read Fangirl, you know what that is.
Yeah. Isn't it like the fan fiction that was in there?
Yeah. It's thick too. And I'm like, it's like a full-on thing. Yes. I loved it. I thought it was like my favorite book I've read, I think, in the last 2 months. Nothing has lived up to Fangirl. Nothing. And then I read an R.L. Stine book, Don't Stay Up Late. It wasn't a Goosebumps book. It was like the Fear Street, like newer Fear Street. But I thought it was a little young.
So maybe a little bit more towards Goosebumps.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like, I think it's one of his newer like books.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, maybe I've just
jaded,
outgrown R.L. Stine, even though I really wanted. I mean, I didn't hate the book. I just wanted it to be a lot scarier. Because in my mind as a kid, he wrote really creepy stuff.
Yeah.
Now that I'm a grown up, it's like, yeah, that's alright, I guess. You know, nothing special. So that was September. I read a lot of books in October. This might take a while.
Mine shut off. FYI. That's okay.
I wrote some books apparently. That didn't happen. I read The Dead House by Dawn Kurtgish? Hold on. I had to look this up on Goodreads because I'm like, I don't think I spelled her name correctly.
Kurtgish? What was it? Welcome to the Dawn House?
The Dead House.
Oh.
Kurtgish. Dawn Kurtgish. I really liked this book. I thought it was kind of weird. It was about a girl. I can hear my dog outside my door.
That was my stomach.
Oh! Well, Stella was making noises outside the door. Sounds just like that. So anyways, it's about a girl who has like 2 lives. Like she's someone else in the day than she is at night. And it's not like split personalities, they're like 2 separate people.
Ooh.
But of course, not many people believe her, and her parents died. The only people that really knew what she was.
Yeah.
So she got put into a sane asylum and stuff. And it was really good. I liked it. And then what did I read? I read The Girl from the Well by Rin Chupeco. This was a good book, and I really liked the cover, and I hate the new covers of the books. But this is pretty much, it's like The Ring, like the legend of the girl from the ring. It's kind of like that.
If you've seen the movie, doesn't.
And cause she's not really in this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really based on the movie. It's based on like the legend, like
right.
what the movie was based on. But the ghost girl, she kills like people that harm children.
Ooh. Good.
Yeah, and it's really good, and she ends up helping out this kid who has like a demon attached to him.
Ooh.
It was good. I'm excited to read the sequel, which is already out. I just am not cool with the cover change, because I love this cover. And
yeah, it's more creepy.
Yeah, and I'm not so into the new cover. But, you know, they do that all the time. Then I read The Dead Girls of Hysteria Hall by Katie Allender. That was a good one, because it's like this, there was something in this like abandoned school that like made young women like kill themselves and keep them there. So it was like about a bunch of ghosts who just like lived in this school.
Oh.
It was good. I liked that too. See, the theme was really creepy books.
Has to.
Then I read The Madman's Daughter by Megan Shepherd, which is sort of a retelling of The Island of Dr. Moreau. I loved it, just like pretty much everyone else who's read this book years ago. And I'm super excited to continue on with this series. And they never changed the covers.
Yeah.
So this was very good. I really enjoyed this book. And I've been wanting to read it for like months, but I was like, I gotta save it for October. And I'm glad I did.
It's a pretty book.
It is pretty. And then I read A Catered Halloween by Isis Crawford, which is just like one of those cozy mystery ones, you know, just cute, like.
Yes, because I only have one book. So September and October was very, very slow months for me. I read one book for the whole 2 months. Actually, read it in September, and that is the novella The Witch Must Burn by Daniel Page. I actually liked it. It's the short story of the oh gosh,
She can't even remember.
Jamelia.
Jam.
What are you trying?
Jelia?
Thank you, Jelia Jam. And her backstory and how she becomes part of the Wicked. Really good.
That was my
story.
favorite out of all of them.
the only one I've read so far. I'm moving on, though, because it was actually really good. It made me cry and feel sorry for her in places.
I like Julia.
Yeah. So, that's the only book that I read. In October, I was reading Carney Punk, which is a bunch of short stories with authors like Rachel Kane, Jennifer Estep, Kevin Hearn, who is my favorite author in this so far because I've read his series, The Iron Druid. So, but yeah, I read it, didn't finish it. I got like 5 or 6 stories in, and I'm like, I can't read anymore. So, but I have already read one book while we were waiting for our little thing with Marissa Myers, and that was Winter Warmers. But we'll come back to that beginning of next month. And I'm currently reading 2 other books, so we'll have some extras for December to do for November. 10.
Okay,
Told you, short and sweet.
on to me now. Okay, so apparently in September I had a reading slump. I only read one book. Book. It was The Girl's Guide to Vampires, All You Need to Know About the Original Bad Boys by Barb Karg. And basically what this is it goes over the different types of revenants, so things that return from the dead. And it goes over their myth and legend. And then it goes into, throughout the book, it talks about written lore, so you have literature, and then film, and yeah. It's really good, I liked it. There were humor bits where there were supposed to be humor bits. The transitions were really good. The only thing is that she would mention something a little bit in one part of the book, and then she would refer you to where she talks about it in depth, so when you got to it at the in-depth part at the in-depth part, sometimes it kind of felt a little redundant, but she referenced a lot of good materials, a lot of good films about vampires, and a lot of good books, so good book. That was that one. And then I read, at the end of September and into October, I read Survive the Night by Danielle Vega. This book was super good. I loved it. I love her writing. This basically was like a metaphor for like addiction and overcoming like the withdrawal, I think. Because basically the main character, she like broke her knee or her ankle in soccer, and she got addicted to pain medication, and her and her friends went into like an underground rave when she had just gotten out of rehab, and something is following them in the underground tunnels, and it starts killing off all of her friends. So yeah, it just kind of has that tone to it, but it's a really, really good book. I really like it. I really like her writing. And then I read Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. If you've seen the movie, yes, the movie was based off the book. But I have to say I like the movie better. But they stand on their own. There's a lot of differences. Like, not Jilly, the sister. What's her face's character?
Sandra Bullock's
Yeah.
character.
I forget her name. But she actually ends up moving away from the aunt's house. So the kids grow up outside of the small community that their family's from. So there were differences there. And Jilly, when she comes back into the picture, because she had been gone for almost 20 years. So there is some time passage in this book. She ends up meeting a different guy who's the hunk of the town that they currently live in, but It's really good. I like it. I love it. Then I read Rosemary's Baby by, it's, Ira Levin. Another movie or book that was turned into a film. So, yep, read that one. And then, I read House by Frank Peretti and Ted Decker. Now, I didn't know, this was a cover buy for me. I'm like, oh, that looks creepy. Basically, it's this, it starts off with, this guy and his wife who are obviously having marital problems, and their tires to the Mustang get ruined because there's spikes in the road and they almost wreck, and then they have to walk. They're out in like the boonies in Alabama. And they find this house. Well, there's 2 other people in this house, and it's an inn, but the inn people aren't there. And then they suddenly appear. The inn's people were hiding in a closet.
What?
Yeah. Which is really stupid. It was a meat locker, not a closet. But in the initial, it was described as a closet, which confused me. And then basically what happens, the inn's people start feeding them food. In a horror movie or book, you should never eat the food. Because then as they're eating it, it tastes bitter. And then they start noticing off things about the food. Like the meat is rancid.
Ew.
The green beans are rancid. And then things start happening with this guy, the serial killer, who drives a truck into the front door, and they all start running in the basement, which they were told not to go into. And the basement starts turning. Like, you go in a door, and nothing should be there, and then there's another hall, and it's just, like, really weird. But instead of it being, like, a place where they confront their fears, it turns into a place where they have to confront their sins, and I was not expecting that. I was not expecting a religious tone to this book. Because it doesn't say that here. It just talks about a game, and it really kind of upset me. Because when I get annoyed when horror goes religious. I just think that's a cop-out. Because it kind of writes itself, and then there's no challenge. So, yeah, my main problem was there was a part where one of the characters, they were running away from the bad guy, whose name was Barsiduous White. But they called him Mr. White. And they were running from him, and one of the girls, she just stopped running, and she told the guy, she just came out, and she's like, I'm whore. And I'm like, what? Why are you doing that? It doesn't even make sense for the character to just stop, call themselves a whore. It didn't
Makes sense.
No, and this one was also one that was turned into a movie. Although I don't know, I haven't seen it, so I don't know if they did up the whole religious bent to it. So I'm kind of curious to see how they did the movie. I think it was done as a foreign film, like outside of America, because we're in America here. But that was that one. And then I'm currently reading like 3 books. I'm reading Masters of Cinema, Tim Burton. I'm not even going to try and say this person's name.
Arlene Ferenczi?
Yeah. I'll put a link in the description, but so yeah, I'm currently reading that, and then while we were waiting to meet and have our discussion for meeting
Marissa Meyer.
Marissa Meyer. I started reading Aunt Sass by, forget her name. It's the lady who wrote Mary Poppins. And the first story, it's just a really tiny book. I didn't finish it. I thought I would because I picked it up because I figured, oh, it's a small book, I'll finish it. But then I got excited and I couldn't read.
I think we all did that.
We met bloggers there
Yeah.
too, but we'll talk about it more. But we just started talking. I'm like, I'm just gonna put this stuff away. So, yeah. But the first story is about her Aunt Sass and P.L. Travers. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
It is such a cute story. Warmed my heart, and I was crying. So it was a cute book. So I would actually, and it's hardcover. So I would pick that up and keep that for my little stash of tiny books that I have. But I'm currently also reading Winter by Marissa Meyer. Oh, camera too. Psycho. That's okay. And yeah, so that's what I'm reading. That's it for me.
Alright. Until next time.
Bye.
See you later. Read more books.
Yes, read more books.
Yes. I say that every time, and I'm reading like one book here, no books here.